Hi, it's Sky, and today I'm going to be talking about pet rehoming. So, I know there's a lot of negativity towards rehoming a pet. However, I feel like in a lot of situations, it can be seen for the well being and what's the best option for the pet. So, I agree that you shouldn't get a pet if in that moment you're not able to care for it. You can't financially afford all the necessities that are required for taking care of this living being. Some bad reasons for rehoming, or if they are out of the puppy stage or out of the young stage, and so they're no longer cute according to like a kid's mind. And if it's like a fad, like, oh, it's a commodity for a time, but then you grow out of it. And I feel like that's a bad reason for rehoming. If you're just not interested in them anymore, or they're just like boring all of a sudden. Like people that get pets for Christmas tend to do that a lot, and that's sad. They shouldn't have to be tossed from home to home because people just don't feel like caring for them anymore. While you may not be allergic when you first get the pet and then you grow an allergy, it is perfectly okay to rehome that pet. That way both of you aren't suffering, because the pet won't get enough cuddles and attention because you're allergic, so you're not able to provide that. And also, you just would be suffering with like all the sneezing, coughing, congestion, anything else like hives, anything that comes with your allergy. I'm currently having to rehome my chinchillas because of allergies. It's gone to the point where I want to give them so much love and cuddles and attention, but I'm literally in there dressed like an Eskimo with a gas mask on and goggles on, and yet I still get sick. I try taking every precaution possible, but the dust just, it gets to me and it makes me so sick. And so to increase my quality of life by decreasing those allergens and increasing their quality of life by being able to be handled more, because I can't handle them as much as they should be handled and they deserve to be handled. So I am having to rehome them too, which is sad because I love them with all my heart, and it's sad to think that their forever home can't be with me like I wanted it to be. Similarly, I know in my case, I had to rehome my Yorkie Brownie because of my increased disability. When I adopted her, I didn't have many health issues, and so I was able to take her for walks, and just give her all the attention and bathroom breaks and grooming that she needed and deserved. However, as my health degraded and my pain and limitations increased, it was very difficult to care for her. And so I felt awful with even considering the possibility of rehoming. And now that I look back, like if I would have rehomed her sooner, we both would have had higher quality lives. And so just keep it in mind, like if you're contemplating rehoming, don't let the negative feelings hold you back. Just give it so much thought, time, and consideration. And once you realize that that is the best option, you'll have a way bigger peace about it. And so with Brownie, it took me years to know that I needed to rehome her. I got her when she was like 5 months, but then I rehomed her when she was 5 years. And I probably got really disabled around like the 2.5 year margin, so only having her for 2 years. And so for the 3 years, I let that linger on where, yes, I let her outside to go potty, but she didn't go for walks as much, or some days or weeks, not at all. And so she didn't get that outdoor time that she deserved. And so while some people think that makes you a horrible human being for rehoming your pets, I disagree. I feel like it makes you a great human being for choosing their well-being and their needs and prioritizing that, sometimes above your own or sometimes equal. And so now Brownie has an amazing life. She goes to the dog park every day because a young couple adopted her, and so they have lots of energy and spunk and time to care for her. And in addition, she now has 2 Yorkie siblings who she's able to play with 24/7. So that definitely brings lots of comfort. I It took me months to find the perfect home to rehome her. There's definitely a right way and a wrong way to rehoming. I do not suggest surrendering your pet to a kill shelter because that, one, supports them, gives them business, and thinks that it's okay to be an humane society. And two, it has a very likelihood of your animal being put down. And if your animal has bit before, they will euthanize your animal without even giving them a consideration for finding a new home. I felt like finding the direct adopter myself was the best way. Some people might not have the time to do that, and so you're welcome to do whatever works for you. So I do suggest that you get your pets spayed or neutered before rehoming. That way there's no chance of them being used for backyard breeding, because your animal does not deserve to be kept in a tiny cage that they can barely move in. They're living in their poop and pee. Backyard breeding is horrible, and so make sure that your pet is spayed and neutered. That way that isn't a concern. Additionally, vet out the potential adopters very thoroughly. That's why I did, because there were several people that were like, oh, don't get her spayed. I'll pay for that myself. I want to do it at my vet. Or why can't she be used for breeding? And it's like, okay, obviously I'm not going to rehome her to you, because her forever family would understand that her quality of life does not entail being bred. And so while breeding is acceptable and okay, I did not want that for my pet. That was a personal choice for me and a decision that I thought would be best for her, because she would be an awful mother. She would not take care of pups very well, so that's for her well-being and just my safety of mind. And also, you don't want to rehome for free. You don't want to just give your pet away for free, because there are disturbingly sick people out there that will abuse the animals and that will put them in like fighting rings and just tons of horrific stuff that your animal does not deserve to go through. So make sure that when you are rehoming, it's increasing their quality of life. And so asking tons of questions can narrow out the people that want to use her for dog fighting or breeding or whatever other bad options are out there. And so for me, I feel like I found the perfect home. I personally just listed her on my personal Facebook page, and then friends and family shared, and eventually a couple in Michigan discovered her, and so they drove like a 10-hour round trip just to pick her up. And so that alone proved that they were sincerely interested in caring for her. They sent several pictures of their home setup, like their fenced-in yard, the other dogs that they had there. They described their personalities to see if it would be a match, that they could all be BFFs, and they are. They're all BFFs. And so we also did like a phone call interview and like a FaceTime interview, and just lots of messaging back and forth to make sure that it's a good fit, and it was. And so ever since rehoming Brownie, I've realized that rehoming can be a positive thing. It's not always negative. Yes, it can be negative, but it isn't always, and it shouldn't be. As a kid, it was definitely very traumatic having to rehome my favorite dog that I was very close with. We cuddled all the time. We hung out all the time. We went for walks, played tug of war, everything, anything you can imagine under the sun. And so when you do rehome, I suggest that all your family is on board. Even if they don't necessarily agree, make sure that they understand the reasons and the logic behind it. That way you can be like, hey, I know that it's going to take a while to get used to the idea of them being with someone else's family, but in the end, it is what's best for them and for us. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking about rehoming. And I encourage you to do your research and maybe create like a pro and con chart of what are the pros and cons of rehoming? How does this increase their quality of life? How could it decrease? How does this increase my family's quality of life? How does it decrease? And you just compare, and ultimately the decision is up to you. There's no definite answer. It's whatever you feel more comfortable with. And when you give it enough time, then you'll grow to accept that decision and embrace it.